The Pentagon leak has turned into a Pandora's box. Day after day, new details are emerging, one more damning than the other. The big question now is, who is behind these leaks? Now, let me emphasize on this. We might have a lead here. As per a Washington Post report, the person behind a massive leak of classified US military documents reportedly worked on a military base. The report, which WION cannot independently verify, claims that the man posted sensitive national security secrets on Discord, which is a social media platform popular with video gamers. It says that the man behind the leaks went by the name OG online and further describes him as a lonely young man and a gun enthusiast. The Post spoke of the man's friend, who said that the alleged leaker posted near verbatim transcripts of classified intelligence documents, which he apparently brought home from his job on a military base. But he did not reveal the person's identity or location. Now, in light of the leaks, the Pentagon has reportedly stopped sharing daily briefings with some officials. US media reports say that it is part of the Pentagon Joint Staff's whittling down of its distribution lists. The Joint Staff reportedly began examining its distribution lists immediately after learning of the trove of leaked classified documents.
Mr. President, could you give an update on that leak investigation, the leaked documents from DOD?
I can't right now. There is a full-blown investigation going on, as you know, with the intelligence community and the Justice Department, and we're getting close. I don't have an answer.
How concerned are you about this leak?
Are you concerned about our
Are you concerned about the leak?
Okay, guys, it's time to go. Let's go. Oh, we got to move.
I'm not concerned about the leak because I'm concerned that it happened. But there's nothing contemporaneous that I'm aware of that is of big consequence.
Are you concerned about relationship with allies? Let's move. Cool. Let's move.
Another shocking revelation from the leaks is that Washington has been closely monitoring Antonio Guterres. The documents reveal a private dialogue between the United Nations chief and several African leaders. One such document focuses on the Black Sea deal and claims that Guterres is willing to go soft on Russia to preserve the deal. Now, that's not all. The leak shows that Russia had contacted a NATO member for its weapons. Moscow's Wagner group reportedly reached out to its Turkish contacts to source weapons from Ankara. Now, let me mention again, it is not clear who the contacts were or if the Erdogan government was even aware of the talks. There is no proof suggesting Turkey's ammunition sale to Russia. But regardless, just the possibility that Moscow reached out to Ankara can possibly sow seeds of doubt in Washington's mind. Now, duplicity is not just from Washington's allies, but from Moscow's as well. As per the classified Pentagon documents, Serbia declined to provide training to Ukrainian forces, but did commit to sending lethal aid or has already done so. The government of Serbian President Aleksandar Vučić has professed neutrality in the Ukraine war. We mustn't forget, Serbia has deep historic, economic and cultural ties with Russia. If what the documents say is true, if we were to believe that, they all point at Washington having forced a change of heart in Belgrade, much to Moscow's displeasure. The Pentagon has launched a probe into the leaks. The hawks are out. US spying on its allies and foes has often been the unsaid truth. But now that the evidence is out in the open, the question is, will Washington's espionage change the nature of its ties? For more on the story, we are being joined by Glenn Carl from Boston. He is a former National Intelligence Officer from the CIA. Welcome to the show, Mr. Carl.
Thank you.
Glenn, reports are suggesting that it was an individual who has worked at a military base who's behind the shocking Pentagon leaks. So what's the credibility to this and what could be the reasons behind it?
Well, I'm not surprised at all that the investigation seems to be narrowing down and focusing on an individual as you describe. I have said in previous interviews on this issue, but on similar ones over the years, that the profile and the pattern of behavior fits what we are learning to be the case, meaning that especially since the terrorist attack in September 11, 2001, the U.S. National security community has expanded dramatically and hired many what are called contractors. They are not staff career employees, as I was, but they are brought in to do specific jobs and hired by outside companies and then provided. And it's that kind of individual, generally from the Defense Department. I'm not insulting the Defense Department, but it's vast, and their standards and approach are different with regard to contractors than in the CIA. It's generally from that profile of individual that leaks like this occur, and the dissemination of sensitive information everyone recognizes is far too broad. So you'll have a malcontent or someone who thinks that he or she is a do-gooder and has a higher moral understanding or commitment to patriotism or something than the entire government does in all of its processes and checks and balances. And then they will take this kind of action. So it fits very closely with what I think is likely.
Right. Glenn, how do you feel these leaks will impact the current geopolitical scenario with the war still going strong and several U.S. allies already wanting to step out of America's shadow?
Well, I don't think it will have any long-term effect. This is the latest. It will have some effect. I mean, no one likes to learn that a neighbor is looking into their bedroom. It's embarrassing and creates a scandal and a problem, and there was a reaction, and no one can accept, or should, of course, that their sovereignty is being flouted, which is what intelligence agencies do. But the fact is, everybody knows, unless they are have only lived in a church or a mosque, I think, that just about every nation on earth conducts intelligence. So there will be turmoil and anger expressed. There will be specific actions taken, perhaps because of the specific information, but I think on the whole not. This shows a good deal of information the U.S. does know and how and where it is focused, but intelligence flaps do pass.
Right. Then there are claims from Russia that these leaks could have been made on purpose by the U.S. Do you see any merit in these claims?
Well, it's not inconceivable. It's no surprise, I think, for me to say that I don't have a lot of faith in anything that the Russians say.
Right.
But disinformation is part of intelligence operations worldwide. However, in this instance, simply to look at the documents that have been photographed and then leaked led me immediately to assess that this was I'll call him or her, a malcontent rather than a disinformation operation. The width of information, the breadth of the subject matter is so wide that for a country to do that as a disinformation campaign is astoundingly difficult.
Right.
To choose, and so I think it is, and then it also fits the profile of the kind of briefing materials, background information that an intelligence officer would receive day to day. Right. So I'm pretty confident that it's a leak rather than disinformation.
Thank you for all those updates, Glenn.
Anytime.